Hello, my name is Sage, and today I will be showing you how to make wave phonk music like Skeler, Last Century, and Sibewest. I will break down my latest track, The Finer Things, in Ableton. Hope you can add some new skills from this tutorial and start making some insanely good night driving music. First and most important thing is choosing a good vocal sample. You can find a ton of phonk sample packs on Reddit, but I prefer to find songs I think would sound good as phonk tracks and extract the vocals myself using an amazing plugin called Ultimate Vocal Remover 5. This plugin is 100% free and I use it every day. Now onto the tutorial. Step 1. Bass. This is the foundation of any wave phonk track. Keeping this progression simple and emotive is key to any wave phonk track. You will almost always want to write your progressions in minor keys, making sure you are pulling on the heartstrings of the listener. Separating the sub-bass from mid-bass is crucial for keeping a clean mix and being able to make the listener truly feel the strong sub-frequencies. This will allow you to control the low end with much more precision than if you were to keep the bass as one layer. Always stick with either a clean sin wave or a low-passed square wave. For my mid-res, I like to use serum. Saw waves will be the best waveform for a respace. Making sure you increase the unison on both oscillators and keeping your detune values between the two oscillators contrasting one another will help to keep the respace from phasing too much. Add a low-pass filter, around 500 to 600 Hz, and applying light tube distortion will get you to the desired result. Also, please make sure in post-processing you are cutting the very low frequencies around 80 Hz and below out, so it is not conflicting with your sub-bass. You can also add some saturation in post to add some more warmth and grit to help the respace sit in the mix nicely. Another thing I like to add to my basses to spice things up a bit is a plucky saw bass. This adds a nice rhythm to the low end and helps really push the groove of the low end forward throughout the song. To achieve this, you can simply duplicate a simple respace patch and add a plucky LFO shape to the low-pass filter frequency, usually moving at the speed of eighth notes. We will now move on to the pads and atmosphere. Something to keep in mind with the atmosphere is you want to really keep this sort of blurry and spacey, as this is going to be a nice bed for your melodies, leads, and vocals to sit on. Any reverb plugin will work to achieve this sound, but I personally love using Valhalla Shimmer. Another key point is to make sure you are cutting out some low and high frequencies to really fit the pad sound in the middle of your frequency spectrum. A low-passed, detuned saw wave is perfect for this type of sound, but do not be afraid of using a combination of ped sounds, and vocal atmospheres. Randomly finding cool samplers across the internet works fine for this, or you can design the pads yourself in any synth. Now on to the melodies and plucks. Writing a good melody could be one of the hardest things to do. Something I find useful is to get the general bass line and chord progression started, as you can use the bass line and chord progression as a guide to the melody. Back to my previous point on the bass line would be to not try and make things too complex. Keep it fairly simple and just go with whatever you are feeling. Dotted note rhythms usually fit this genre best. You can watch many trance melody tutorials to help you better understand this concept. Now on to the drums and percussion. For this you will need to follow the common trap drum pattern. Making sure you choose a tight and punchy kick and snare will help you achieve the bussin' drums you want. Usually for this type of genre, the kick needs to be darker and have a quieter high-end transient. Do not be afraid to use hi-hat loops. No one truly cares at the end of the day. Adding pitched hi-hat rolls will help spice up your patterns and making sure you keep things evolving throughout the song, adding and removing elements throughout. You can find all these drum sounds in my latest sample pack in the description of this video. Now the final step, vocals. For this you will either want to find already pre-made vocal samples, or you will want to extract them yourself using AI stem splitting software. For this song I used extracted vocals from a Ramirez song, but you can use anything from Bones, Suicide Boys, King Skinny Pimp, Devilish Trio, and many others. The more you dig, the better, because finding vocals that no one else has sampled yet can give you an edge on creating a unique wave funk track. For the processing, using slight shimmer or reverb, an EQ will usually do the trick.
They be like, who that? It's the motherfucker with the strap. Lay him down by one of these suckers, don't pay the tax. I can never fuck with a rubbish unless they bring the scratch. I've been up to 6 for golden D's and it can't go half.
Now onto the master. For this I will generally keep it simple. Here I used OTT, keeping the depth around 12% and turning the upward to 170% and downward to around 30%. Don't ask me what exactly this does, but it sounds good, and that's all that matters. Also, I am adding about 1 dB of saturation into a hard clipper, and then boosting the final limiter by about 3 dB, just to give it that extra boost of loudness and compression. That will wrap up this tutorial. I hope you have learned something today and would love to hear your thoughts on the things discussed in this video. If you want the sounds to create this style of music, you can purchase my latest pack with the link in the description of this video. Can't wait to hear your next wave funk track in this style. Cheers.